Welcome back, friends. Welcome you all in the new session of JavaScript by TutorialLiv. So this is session 10. In our previous two sessions, we have discussed about data types. So we know that there are two types of data types in JavaScript. One is primitive, second is non-primitive or reference type or derived type. Okay. So in today's session, we are going to start with non-primitive data types or reference type data types. So in theoretical way, just to understand what is non-primitive data types. So non-primitive data types are the mutable data types. Why we are calling it mutable data type? Because we can change the values. Means as I already told you that object, array, these are the non-primitive data types. So we can change the value of array or the object once it has been created. After that also we can change the values of these data types. Okay, so that's why non-primitive data types are the mutable data types. However, we cannot compare it by its value. We cannot compare either object or array with its value. We'll see by example in couple of minutes only, after a couple of minutes. Also, we know it as a reference type value type, reference type data type, because we can compare it by its reference, not by its value. So let's jump into the example, the practical session, how it is it cannot be compared by its value, why we call it reference type value, why call it mutable data types. Okay, so let's start with this, and I have some example like earlier session also. So once we are calling it means what is the object. So this is the object. You can see this, I have created an object imply. It has three properties: f name, l name, and contact. Okay, so in which scenario, this is the scenario I am going to discuss, in which scenario you are going to create object. Okay, so if we have multiple properties of any element, okay, like if you are describing any car, if you are describing any human, if you are describing any employee who is working in a company, so employee could have their salary, employee could have their employee id, employee could have their mail id. These all records we need to manage. So there is a single object employee or a human being or a car who is having several properties. In reference of car, we can call it, okay, the car is having four wheels, the car could have a driving seat, the car could have a back seat, the car could have a headlight. These all are the properties. Car could have a color. Okay, so these all are the properties of car elements. So we know that this particular element could have several properties. So if we want to define it, any object in any element in that way, we need to create an object. Okay, so similarly I have created an object of employee. Okay, it has three properties: first name, last name, and the contact number. Okay, and we can access it by its property, like employee is the object and f name is its property, employee.fname, employee.lname, employee.contact. So you can see I have created an object with three properties, and once I am trying to access it by its properties, I am getting the values here: employee.fname Rohit, employee.lname Gupta, employee.contact, the contact number that I have given. Similarly, I already told you that array is also an non-primitive data type. So how we define array? Similarly, so array could have elements in the square bracket. Inside the square bracket, if we write like this, this is the array. Array could have string value, it could have integer values, it could have a string and integer values both in the same array. Okay, so this is the professions array I have created. I have named it professions. Okay, and given it the three elements. These are the elements of the array, and it starts from 0th index. Okay, on 0th index, on first index, on second index. Okay, these are the index of an array. Now we can access the array also, like professions is the array name. Okay, we have given the profession as array name. So once we are accessing it in our console, so we can see that yes, there are three elements. You can see once I enlarge it, you can see on the 0th index it's YouTuber, on first it's blogger, on second it's photographer. So it won't start from 1, 2 and 3, it always starts from 0th index. So array is on 0th index it's YouTuber, first on blogger, and on second it's photographer. So this is general idea about how we can declare object, how we can declare array. But once I told you that we can, it's a it's a mutable data type. So why I am telling it mutable? So I have already declared the employee, let employee, and 3 properties. Now if I want to change this particular property value, what I can do? So what I will do, I just provided a new value and opening this particular commented code, employee.fname equal to TutorialLiv. Now before this, once I was accessing console.log employee.fname, it was giving us the Rohit. What was its earlier value? Now I have changed it to TutorialLiv. So I can see the value gets updated. So now we are having employee.fname equal to TutorialLiv. So that's why I was telling it's a mutable kind of data type. Now the second one, we can do the same thing with array also. How? So as I told you, array start with 0th index. So on 0th index it was earlier YouTuber. Now once I have updated the professions array, professions, and the 0th index, in a square bracket I have written 0 and given it a new value Rohit. So what happens? Now let's try to access this particular array. So what happens? You can see the earlier array is having YouTuber, but the new array is having Rohit. So this proves that the non-primitive data types are mutable data types. Moving forward, why I told you that it cannot be compared by its value. So if we see about the primitive, which is having integer, string, these all things. So let's see. I have declared 2 primitive data types, not the non-primitive. It's a primitive. Let num equal to 1, let num2 equal to 1. Both are having same values, 1 and 1. Once I console.log and try to compare this num and num2, what happened? It is returning true, means num and num2 are same. But let's try to do the same thing with the array or a non-primitive data type. What will happen? Let's see. Let numbers 1, it is having 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5. Numbers 2, same elements 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Once I am trying to compare it, console.log numbers 1 equal to number 2, I am trying to check, it is returning as false. Though it was having the same element, exactly same in the order also. These two array or the non-primitive data types are having the same element in same order, but it is returning false. So that's why I told you that non-primitive data types cannot be compared by its values. Okay, now next thing, once I told you it can be compared by its reference also. So what I did, I have created another object, okay, numbers 3, and put the reference of numbers 1 reference, okay, date number 3 equal to numbers 1. Once I will try to compare it, let me console.log for you. Console.log, what is now inside numbers 3? If we check numbers 3, so you can see numbers 3 is having same element 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 now. And once I am trying to compare it, what I am seeing, it is returning 2. Why? Because we have put the reference of numbers 1 in numbers 3. How I put the reference? Let's see. If I just comment it out, let's see what kind of error we are getting. Uncaught reference error. So we were referencing number 1 into number 3. So that is something. The non-primitive data types can be compared by its reference, not by its value. So that is all for today's session. Thanks for joining.